Hello, I'm Ken Schafer, and I'm here to discuss all things related to men's sexual health. And you may or may not know, but this is part of an ongoing series, the ABCs of men's sexual health. And I've been working my way up through the alphabet over the past few months. And tonight we are up to the V in the ABCs of men's sexual health. The first word that I'm going to cover is Viagra. I use Viagra as a stand-in for a class of drugs called PDE5 inhibitors. There are two paths that are in operation to get an erection. For a man to get an erection, there is the NO2 path. When you get aroused, you release nitrous oxide into in your blood. The nitrous oxide acts as, well, what it does is then it stimulates the release of a protein called serum, and that protein causes the smooth muscles in your penis to relax, allowing your penis to engorge with blood to get an erection. On the other side, there is an enzyme called PDE5, which acts to counter the effects of the nitrous oxide pathway in order to decrease your erection or to end your erection. And so these two processes have to be in balance. So when you're getting an erection, obviously the NO2 pathway is dominant, and when you're not getting an erection, the PDE5 pathway is dominating. And what PDE5 inhibitors do is they inhibit the PDE5 enzyme, which prevents it from breaking down your erection. So if you get an erection and the PDE5 pathway is blocked, your erection is likely to stay longer. PDE5 inhibitors are the most commonly prescribed drug for ED. I don't mind the fact that people are using PDE5 inhibitors or that they're being prescribed. I think they're being overprescribed, and they're being prescribed because the doctor is just lazy. That ED is generally a sign that you are unhealthy, that some part of your health is failing, and it's manifesting as ED. It could be many, many different things. The important thing to understand is that when you go to your doctor, does your doctor look for the underlying cause of the ED? Now, your doctor might prescribe PDE5 inhibitors to help you in the meantime, but they should be trying to find the underlying cause, and it's not always easy. And doctors are too lazy. A guy comes in, he complains of erectile dysfunction, they throw Viagra or another PDE5 inhibitor at him, send him on his way. Most doctors will also test for testosterone, and unfortunately most doctors incorrectly read the testosterone results. And so if the guy is within the normal range, they assume that he's within the healthy range, which is incorrect, and they'll tell him everything's fine and just take these pills, going away. This is lazy medicine. Now, PDE5 inhibitors are fairly effective, and they do work for the majority of men, but there's a sizable minority of men for which they do not work. It really depends on what's causing your ED. And as I said before, that there are many different causes of ED, but a lot of guys over time will find that the PDE5 inhibitors become less and less effective. And why is that? Well, there's probably many reasons, but one of the main reasons is that the other pathway is no longer operating well enough to give you an erection. So you have the NO2 pathway. the NO2 pathway releases that protein, which causes the smooth muscle fibers to relax, and then you get an erection. So if you're not producing enough NO, you can't get an erection no matter what. So basically, you need that pathway operating to some extent for the PDE5 inhibitors to work. So a lot of guys, they get on Viagra and they don't address the underlying health issue. They get older, and the NO2, your ability to produce NO2 decreases pretty dramatically as you age. So they're getting older and producing less NO. The underlying cause of the ED is getting worse, and eventually the PDE5 inhibitors can't compensate for what is wrong with that person, and they stop working. And in fact, that was my experience. When I got ED, I went to my doctors and they followed the standard script. That is all too common. They tested my testosterone. The results, I looked back at the results and saw that my levels were horrible. I had horribly low testosterone. They didn't test my thyroid hormones at all. It turns out that those are pretty horrible too. I will give my primary care physician the credit that he did send me to an endocrinologist for some testing and then to a urologist. Yeah, and unfortunately, the endocrinologist was incompetent and he didn't give me all the right tests. He missed some tests, told me everything was fine. Everything was not fine. I went to the urologist. He gave me a different test, and he also tested my testosterone. He ordered the right testosterone tests, but I looked at those test results and they were horrible. Never brought it up to me. None of my doctors for the first 10 years that I was dealing with ED ever were able to tell me what was going on. They didn't know what they were doing. They made many, many mistakes. Well, of course, because the practice of lazy medicine is all too common here in the United States, and doctors are not, they're just following a script, and this is the ED script. This script is, guy comes in with ED. If his testosterone is normal, they tell him he's fine. They throw PDE5 inhibitors like Viagra at him, send him on his way, and then what happens when they become ineffective or they no longer work? And that's the problem. Not one doctor I saw for the first 10 years that I was dealing with ED, not one doctor suggested that I change my diet, which can be a great source of nutrients for NO production. Not one doctor suggested that I try to eat more healthy fats, which are necessary for hormone production, particularly testosterone and thyroid hormone, which are steroid hormones, and steroid hormones are based on cholesterol, which is a fat. And so if you don't have enough fat, if you're not eating enough healthy fats, you're going to have trouble producing healthy levels of hormones. And this is one reason why I do not recommend the vegan diet. I know a lot of people out there are adamant that it's the most healthy diet, but I think that they cherry pick their evidence. I don't think you need to be on a carnivore diet. I think that you need a plant-based diet with about 10 to 20% meat. You need that fat. And I've known many vegans who eventually developed hormonal problems because of their diet, and they had to go off the diet. The message is there's a lot of guys out there who could fix their ED. If you're a guy out there, and my story sounds familiar, it's like your story, if it sounds a lot like your story, I hope you'll contact me and let me help you take control of the situation. There is a lot you can do. A lot of it sometimes comes down to firing your doctor and finding one who knows what they're doing, as well as incorporating a healthy lifestyle. And that's what I do. I help men incorporate a healthy lifestyle and find a competent doctor. So yeah, I've probably beaten this subject to death. PDE5 inhibitors like Viagra, okay, they're good for a stopgap measure to help get you going again, but your doctor needs to find out why you have ED and address the underlying issues. There's nothing wrong with using Viagra in the meantime, but you can't let your doctors be lazy. They'll solve the problem for now and just create a worse problem later on. Okay, the next word is venous insufficiency. Now, this is a difficult issue that can cause ED, or it does cause ED. It means that you are not maintaining enough blood in your penis to maintain an erection. If you have ED and you're not responding well to any treatments, you should be tested. You should probably get this test anyway, but you should be tested for venous insufficiency. And there's many ways, there's many diagnostic procedures to test for venous insufficiency. They test the blood flow into the penis, and they try to artificially induce an erection, and they measure the flow, the outflow of blood from the penis, and that there has to be a balance there. And obviously, to maintain an erection, you need to trap the blood into your penis. And if you can't trap the blood into your penis, you have venous insufficiency. I have a blog article on this, so if you go to my website, I have a great blog article on venous insufficiency. If you do have venous insufficiency, it does make treating ED much more difficult, but it is treatable. Or at least for some men, it is treatable. Now, it turned out I had venous insufficiency. None of my doctors tested that. I even went to one urologist and specifically asked him for a venous insufficiency test. And he said it was a waste of time because it wouldn't change how you're treated. But he was wrong. It does change how you're treated if you have a doctor who knows what he or she is doing. After many years of struggling to find a good doctor, I did find a good urologist who I'm seeing now. His name is Dr. Paul Gittins, and he's in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and New York, New York. He has offices in each of those cities. With Dr. Gittins, I got what is called sonic wave therapy, the P shot, and Botox shot. And it was a game changer. It was an absolute game changer for me. Now, those don't work for everybody. Again, there's so many things that cause ED that it's very difficult to know what's going to work for you. But for me, it was a game changer. So until the next video, thank you for watching, and goodbye.